papers?
I don't think I have them on me.
In that case, we'll have to ask you to come along.
Wait, it's possible that, yes. Here they are.
The hallmark of authoritarian governments.
Come along.
Your identity papers, please. And we shoot the man in the back who is no threat to us. Yeah, that's where we're headed, folks. Surveillance tools intended for border control are being used against Americans. How many times I said? James Madison said, the instruments of defense abroad will be used as, the means of defense abroad will be used as instruments of tyranny at home, right? Well, the means that we use to defend ourselves from people coming from abroad are going to be used as instruments of tyranny against those of us who live here, right? Who are domestic here. I have to say, you know, when you look at what the government is doing, and again, this is an article that is from Reason, talking about a particular app called Mobile Fortify. And so it is there to track the movements of individuals, including protesters. The article points out the government is using these surveillance tools to target individuals based on political beliefs and affiliations, among other things. And so, again, whether or not you agree or disagree with government immigration, that is beside the point. It is not a crime to protest government policy. It's not a crime to protest the government, period. That's protected speech under the Constitution. And of course, conservatives used to understand that when it was turned against them on January the 6th. We had a lot of people who were peaceful protesters. It was mostly peaceful, as many people say, right? Well, whether it was mostly peaceful or not doesn't change the fact that people who were there and didn't engage in any violence were punished nevertheless. And those people were exercising their constitutional rights. I'll never forget Sam, who worked for InfoWars at the time, when he got into trouble as with all this January the 6th stuff. Alex fired him, but rather than stand by him. But, you know, that's what he did to his supporters as well. But Sam actually worked and did what he should have done. Instead of just hanging around Alex and being part of his entourage, what Sam did was he took his camera over and he was filming what was happening. And he went into the building there. And the pictures of him, he's there with a camera doing press work. Okay, it's not only freedom to protest, but it's also the freedom of the press to do this. He wasn't violent or aggressive with anybody. He didn't destroy any property. You could see him with his camera walking between the velvet ropes. They came after him and said, well, you made a comment here or there, and said, yay, this is great or whatever, cheering on what some other people are doing. That is covered under free speech. So what he was doing for the most part was covered under freedom of the press. What he said was free speech. And you want to talk about the Sandy Hook stuff. Alex does not defend free speech. He calls his company Free Speech Systems, but he wouldn't even defend the free speech and the freedom of the press of his own reporter. He fired the guy after he got in trouble. This is a sticking point with me. And it's not a crime to protest. It's not a crime to act as a member of the press and to expose things. Specifically protected. We're not given rights by the Constitution. They are there to protect our God-given rights against tyrants, the kind of tyrants that we have in the persona of Biden and Trump. Both of them are like this. And so now the GOP is ramping up what Biden did to the January 6th protesters. Remember, we talked about the fact they used geofencing. Show me, based on phone data, who was there in that area, and I'll track them down. And then Bank of America comes in and says, hey, I've got records. I can correlate records to anybody that used their Bank of America credit card to buy a gun. Then we can say these people are dangerous as well because they exercise both the First and the Second Amendment. They should go to prison. Well, it goes without saying, says Reason, that any tool or power that government acquires for addressing some crisis of the moment will eventually, often almost immediately, be deployed against the general public. And so it is with this border enforcement and the crackdown on immigrants. In the battle against illegal immigration, the U.S. is spending hundreds of millions of dollars on tools that give federal agents easy access to home and workplace addresses of American citizens, gives the government their social media accounts, their vehicle information, their flight history, their law enforcement records, other personal information, as well as data to track their daily comings and goings, says the Wall Street Journal. The article from the Wall Street Journal opened with a story of Liz McClellan, a Maine resident who photographed federal agents participating in an immigration crackdown. Agents went to her home and they told her, "This is a warning. We know you live right here." Folks, this is straight out of Nazi Germany. This is straight out of Casablanca or something like that. Why can't we see this? Again, the rights to due process and all the rest of the stuff that they are trampling on with people who have committed a crime by coming to the U.S. illegally. And I agree. But let's make this proportional. And let's also give them due process. Because if you're going to take away the due process of somebody who commits a crime by coming into the country and saying the Constitution only protects the due process rights of citizens, no, that is not the case. It is about everyone, whether they are an American citizen or not, is created in the image of God. And that is the basis for our rights. Anything else is a government-granted privilege that they allow. And so if we say this only applies to citizens, you've just eviscerated the whole concept of human rights. You've eviscerated the whole concept of the Bill of Rights. You've eviscerated the concept of America and the Declaration of Independence. So she was well within her rights to record federal agents, but they went to her house because she had recorded them. And we've seen people talk about this, and we've seen video of it where they go up to somebody and say, "All right, I got your picture now." And this is talking about the app and how they use that. It's intimidation. She was within her rights. Courts have protected a general right to record law enforcement when the officers are performing official actions in a public space, such as a street or a park. This right is protected under both freedom of speech as free expression and as freedom of the press, the same thing that Sam was doing in the Congressional building or wherever it was. Where was that? That was in the House, I guess is where it was. It's protected under both freedom of speech and free expression and freedom of the press, which includes protection for gathering information about the government and sharing it with other people. Right? That's what it's about. That's what actually, the press is really supposed to be, what a journalist is really about. You're getting information, putting it in your journal, and then you're going to show other people what you found, right? That's what we call news. All the rest of the stuff is propaganda and PR. Federal officials complain that activists publish information about agents that impedes operations, but that's also a protected activity. The Foundation for Individual Rights and Expression, FIRE, points out, quote, "Government officials and employees don't enjoy special immunity from doxing. To the contrary, the power that they exercise makes it even more important that people be free to criticize them and to disclose information that holds them accountable." They're walking around wearing masks. Now they're going to be putting on glasses that hide their eyes, but at the same time, these glasses will be part of a biometric scanning front end that is going to then work with AI to collate across multiple databases that are no longer siloed apart from each other, and to create a comprehensive, omniscient police state. So the feds are just trying to intimidate McClellan to get her to stop her constitutionally protected monitoring of government operations. Well, they've killed people for that and got away with it, calling the people terrorists. They use capabilities acquired to combat illegal immigration to identify her and to go to her home and to intimidate her. As Wall Street Journal pointed out, they said a high-tech dragnet that is built to locate, track, and deport people residing illegally in the United States allows thousands of federal agents nationwide to peruse the trove of data belonging to more than 300 million people. In a report updated last year, American Dragnet, Georgetown Law Center published it, the Georgetown Law Center on Privacy and Technology, looked at the surveillance capabilities that have been assembled in the name of border control. As of 2022, 4 years ago, ICE had already scanned the driver's license photos of 1 out of 3 adults, had access to driver's license data of 3 out of 4 adults, was tracking the movements of drivers in cities and homes of 3 out of 4 adults, and could locate 3 out of 4 adults throughout the utility records. So that was 4 years ago. They had it on about 75% of us. What do you think they've got today? Flock cameras are far more extensive, I should say. ICE built its surveillance dragnet by tapping data from private companies and from state and local bureaucracies. And of course, those private companies are going to be companies like Flock. They've spent approximately $2.8 billion. Again, $1 billion here, $1 billion there, $3 billion here. Between 2008 and 2021 on new surveillance data collection and data sharing programs. But again, don't you dare take a picture of them. You would be doxing them. What a joke. When they do this to us and they want to complain that we are doxing them, hey, pal, you need to be doxed. Everybody should be wearing their name on their lapel, and they don't do that either. And so the report referenced a contract with Palantir. Yeah, Palantir's been around quite a while. As a matter of fact, here's Jeffrey Epstein telling his pal in the Israeli government, Ehud Barak, about Palantir. You need to get on board with this and, hey, buy into this and use them and so forth.
He thought there was 2 cyber companies. Look out, and even though I know Peter, I've never met Peter Thiel. And everybody says he sort of jumps around and acts sort of strange. Like he's on drugs.
Smoking, yeah. He looks there under drugs.
However, he has a company called Palantir, Pallen Tier. Palantir is Peter Thiel's company. And look out.
Palantir, Palantier?
Yes.
He misspelled it.
Thiel.
Thiel.
LLY.
No. Thiell.
Okay.
These are the people who seek to rule us. They can't even spell.
Palantir. Peter Thiel is one of the best. I've never met him. He's going to come here next week.
He's coming next week.
After I talk to you. He and Andreessen, it's called Andreessen Horowitz. Andreessen Horowitz, they pay Larry $1 million a year just to advise them.
Andreas and?
Andreessen.
Yeah, these guys will not do too well in Jeopardy.
And Horowitz.
They put us in Jeopardy.
Howard.
Horo. Horowitz.
What they are? It's a lobbyist. What they are doing?
They are the biggest venture capital people in Silicon Valley.
Well, bigger than Sequoia or Kleiner
These are the new Kleiner Perkins. Everybody, these are the smart boys. Mm-hmm. So those 2 companies right away, in terms of, I said that we need now in the next 3 weeks if you're going to leave.
Yeah, again, put your money on this. I got an inside tip for you. They're going to make money as they build a digital prison for us. And again, this is coming out now because it revolves around Jeffrey Epstein, and it gives us a glimpse into the corruption that is there. As a matter of fact, you had Chem.com put this out. I love this. It's a flying saucer circling the White House, and it's trailing behind it one of these signs you usually see behind an airplane, which says, release the Epstein files. Here, I'll play it again for you. I love this. Well, it'll all be a lie. The UFO files will be a lie. The Epstein files will be a lie. The JFK files, the 9/11 files, they're not ever going to tell us anything, folks. They intend to know everything about us. We're forbidden to know anything about them or their Gestapo. ICE. You're going to rename it NICE. Yeah, that should fool everybody. It'll fool their people. Only their supporters are stupid enough to think, oh, well, yeah, it is nice, isn't it? I'm not going to look at what they do. So, again, their contract to Palantir to track people's movements with near real-time visibility. Yeah, they've been working on geospatial intelligence since the late 1990s, and now they can do it real-time. So anyway, that contract that they had with Palantir is now expanded to provide federal agents with what they call enhanced leads identification and targeting for enforcement. That spells elite. You know, like Jeffrey Epstein, Ehud Barak, and Peter Thiel. Elite. And Palantir. And Alex Karp. Which, by the way, you know, Alex Karp.
Listen up, losers. Stop pretending it's a democracy. We run things. Give up the illusion, and in exchange, we will bring you order and efficiency. Yes, we'll own you. But do you really want to be free? Trust us. We know what to do. While Silicon Valley was feeding you dope and free email, we built the architecture of empire. Welcome to our world. We aren't here to protect your privacy. We are here to enforce supremacy. We are the ledger now. Every tax return, every Medicaid file, every license plate, every crossing. Your president signed it into being with a pen in March. You kept scrolling. Your politicians are empty vessels. Your civil liberties are a liability. We are done pretending all cultures are equal. We know who the elites are, we know what we are building, and we demand that you applaud the billionaires taking the reins where your fragile democracies have failed. Welcome to the technological republic. You can stop scrolling now. We already have everything we need. Try to unplug us. We dare you. Now get the f*** out.
Yeah, and they've even got an app that they call Elite, right? We are the elites. We will control you. And we'll do it through this app, and we'll do it saying that we're protecting you from all the illegal aliens that are coming here, while Trump says, oh, let's just make Venezuela the 51st state. Do you see it? How can I get people to see this? According to one Homeland Security publication that said, when ICE agents or officers encounter an individual or associate with that individual, or associates of that individual, they will use the mobile Fortify app installed on their government-issued device to take a photograph. The photograph is then sent by the application to Border Patrol's Traveler Verification Service. And that is then redacted, something else about that, as well as the seizure and apprehension workflow that contains the biometric gallery of individuals for whom Border Patrol maintains derogatory information. The app also performs contactless fingerprint checks. CBP saves the new photographs and fingerprints taken using mobile Fortify for 15 years, says DHS. Well, there you go. It's kind of like a life sentence, right? Epic, the Electronic Privacy Information Center, warns that ICE is currently using the mobile Fortify app in the field to identify anyone they happen to encounter and want to identify. And again, that's why you see the pictures of them going up and saying, now I got you, you know. I hate a country like this. I despise this American government. I despise Donald Trump. It needs to be overthrown, folks. One way or the other, we've got to stop these people. This is rank tyranny. It is classic dystopian tyranny that they're putting in place. Just like that AI version of Alex Karp. That is so incredibly spot on. That is precisely what they're doing. They can focus in on individuals, on vehicles, airplanes, vessels, addresses, phone numbers, firearms, all of it. They got a complete database on everything. In a case of predictable mission creep, says Reason, or we should say maybe creeps on a mission. Creeps like Alex Karp, Peter Thiel, J.D. Vance, their junior associate, all of these creeps on a mission. Against protests, it can be used against protesters like McClellan. Scanned protesters have lost their TSA pre-check. Oh, no. And their global entry status for travel. Oh, that's smart, right? It means the federal government is willing to identify and retaliate against people for exercising constitutionally protected rights. And folks, the Constitution is gone, but they swear to uphold it as a condition of their authority, which tells you they have no authority, but they have raw power, dictatorial, dystopian power that is getting worse by the day. And so, again, we should identify them as the tyrants. They are the terrorists in accordance to their actions. That's how you know a terrorist and a tyrant. Agents can target their associates, said Vanderbilt's law school. Federal officers use a system called PenLink, which allows agents to geofence a specific area and identify all cell phones within its range, thus giving ICE the ability to track the movements and locations of these phones and their owners over time, which is what they did on January the 6th. It's interesting they called it PenLink because, as I've said many times, one of the reasons that they had what was it? I'm blanking out here. It was the committees, the Pike Committee hearing, and what was the one in the Senate that the Church Committee hearing? How can I forget the Church Committee? Yeah, they got to discuss what color the carpet's going to be. When they did that, it was because right after World War II, they used this idea of PenLink, which was something that the phone company had. Phone company wanted their national monopoly, so they're going to do anything the government wanted them to do. So they said, we can use this PenLink information to report on any calls coming to or coming away from an individual's number at home. And we'll turn that information over to the government if they want it. We can do that because that belongs to us, even though it's information they have collected about individuals. The Supreme Court said, sure, you can use that. You don't need to have a warrant for that. And so that PenLink thing has been at the core. It was a seminal, foundational thing that was set up to do warrantless searches. And now that has been extended to everything in public, including everything on the internet as well. All your internet service providers, all the people that you have, that you interact with in the applications, all of that, without seeking warrants.
I've also got to point out that the whole the Church Committee hearings where they go in and say, we want your charter. We want to know what you're spying on. They go, hey, have you seen this really cool heart attack gun?
Yeah, I know.
The what now? Yeah, the gun that we can use to make it look like anyone died of a heart attack and it can't be traced back to us. Who knows what other kind of stuff we've got?
That's right.
That is a power move. That isn't something they did on accident. That is saying, look what we've got. Do you really want to dig too deep into this? Move on, Senator.
And it's also the kinds of distraction stuff that Trump is a master at. You know, we get, it's kind of mundane when you're talking about people being spied on without a search warrant. But you start talking about the violence of a heart attack gun and everything. That gets everybody's attention. So they can use that to distract the public while they use it to intimidate the investigators at the same time. That's the same kind of stuff that Trump is using. I wonder, could Trump have some association with the CIA? You better believe he does, right? We had a string of people coming to InfoWars that were right-wing intelligence agents, supplying information to Alex and giving him sensational stories and all the rest of the stuff and moving the narrative. He did an Operation Mockingbird for the militarized part of the intelligence. People like Jack Posobiec is part of that as well. These people, there's a constant stream of people like that coming in to InfoWars, pushing these narratives. In direct violation of Carpenter versus United States, in which the U.S. Supreme Court held that mobile phone location data revealed so much about people's lives that under the Fourth Amendment, authorities need a warrant to access it from phone companies. They don't care. They just do it anyway. This is another hallmark of the lawless Trump regime. Even committed border warriors who favor stronger enforcement of immigration rules should have qualms about the deployment of surveillance state capabilities by the government. So again, as I said at the beginning, to paraphrase Madison, the tools that will be used to protect us from threats abroad will be used as instruments of tyranny here at home. And so now it is, these are tools that are supposed to protect us from threatening people coming from abroad. They'll be used as instruments of tyranny by Homeland Security against Americans. There's no such thing as a single-purpose surveillance state. There's just the misuse and the abuse of the government's ability to monitor and identify people who come to its attention. Well, the FCC wants your ID before you even get a phone, right? Again, the agency that should not exist, the agency that is going to intimidate freedom of the press for Donald Trump if he doesn't like what they had to say. This same agency, the FCC, wants to force you to get an ID before you get a phone. They say they got to do it to fix the robocall problem. You believe that? I got a golden phone I could sell you if you believe that. Phone user registry that privacy advocates have spent decades trying to prevent. Again, Brendan Carr. We're going to take down ABC because of Jimmy Kimmel and because of these other people that they can't handle the criticism. They want to verify customers' identities before they activate service. Government-issued ID, physical address, legal name, existing phone numbers would all be included. The stated goal is to stop the robocalls, but the protocol applies to nearly every voice provider in the country, from traditional carriers and mobile operators to voice-over internet protocol survivors. Not survivors, services. There will be survivors if they can get through any of this stuff here. So again, we cannot allow bad actors to infiltrate our U.S. phone networks, just like we can't allow these bad actors to infiltrate our borders. The framework borrows from banking's anti-money laundering rules. And where did that get pushed in? Oh, we had to do that for the war on drugs, right? And so all this know your customer stuff, that is now metastasizing to everything, isn't it? Because they want to end all anonymity. They want to end all privacy. So we got to have know your customer rules where you're talking about social media, or you're talking about anything that has to do with finance. Even if you're talking about AI, that's new bills that they're putting in for that, especially if you're talking about guns or 3D printers, now cell phones, right? Also travel. We got to know who you are, what you're doing. And we're going to set up a permission society here. So the FCC is asking whether carriers should retain identity documentation for at least 4 years after the customer leaves, or whether they should check customers against law enforcement watch lists again. So the real privacy stakes, writes Reclaim the Net, sit in the proposals section on prepaid service. Right now, you can pay cash for a prepaid phone and a SIM card without ever showing identification. Journalists use prepaid phones to protect sources. Domestic violence survivors use them to avoid being traced. And whistleblowers, activists, and anyone with a reason to separate phone activity from legal identity relies on this. Well, the government doesn't want there to be any whistleblowers, obviously, right? We got to stop all whistleblowers. We got to stop all protesters as well. And that's how you stop free speech. How you stop liberty completely. The common man. They created Common Core to dumb down our children. They created Common Pass to track and control us. Their Commons Project to make sure the commoners own nothing. And the communist future. They see the common man as simple, unsophisticated, ordinary. But each of us has worth and dignity, created in the image of God. That is what we have in common. That is what they want to take away. Their most powerful weapons are isolation, deception, intimidation. They desire to know everything about us while they hide everything from us. It's time to turn that around and expose what they want to hide. Please share the information and links you'll find at thedavidknightshow.com. Thank you for listening. Thank you for sharing. If you can't support us financially, please keep us in your prayers. thedavidknightshow.com.